What's going on, y'all, and welcome on in. I wanted to do a part 2, a follow-up to the custom Mystic Summon video I just released for two reasons. Number one, I think there's still a lot of powerhouse units that I want to go over, especially if some of y'all watching didn't need Conquer Lilius, didn't like Meteor Coeric, don't care for Apocalypse Ravi. I mentioned two honorable mentions, Fallen Cecilia and Bellion, and I think there's a lot of other units that are at that power level, you know, a little bit below the top 3, but ones that I think you should also consider. So we'll go over those in detail. And number two, I think some of y'all watching, I know a lot of people consider this custom Mystic banner as a scam. I recommended that if you don't have 10,000 Mystics, avoid it at all costs. I think the more I talk with people, the more I hear about some certain experiences. I think we're going to broaden the criteria a little bit, so some of you watching may be able to fit into this category on why it could potentially be very good for y'all. Just stay tuned. I'll give you the full details. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Let's get to it. Alrighty, y'all, before we go into my recommendations, you know, a little guide or tier list, whatever you want to call it, on some powerful heroes that I want to additionally recommend to y'all, let's go ahead and talk about a few details for the custom Mystic Summon and why I said those of you that may not have 10,000 Mystics might want to consider going in or entering this Mystic banner, even though a lot of people are calling it a scam, what might have you. So, let's go ahead and look at the details and what I'm talking about. The banner, of course, is going to run from, it's been open since Thursday, April 28th. And it's going to go all the way till July 21st. Just call it 3-month run date, okay? That's important. Remember, this thing's going to be active for 3 months. Now, another detail that's kind of important is on June 9th, they're going to open up a second round. What does that mean? Well, if we look at the details here, when the second round of custom Mystic Summons begins, players will be able to additionally select 1 4-star and 5-star Moonlight hero each. What does that mean, guys, and why is it relevant? It means if you guys are able to summon now and you get either the 5-star or the 4-star, the coins that you build up on there, let's say it took you 100 coins, right? 100 summons, but you're able to get Maid Chloe along the way, or Sinful Angelica. That means when the 9th hits, those coins, guys, you can get a new hero and buy them in the shop with those coins. So make sure you don't buy any of those extra random stuff in there. If you get lucky and pull your Moonlight 5-star, you want to hold that off, and you could potentially get lucky and get both your original hero that you wanted and an additional one when the round 2 opens up. Now, of course, that does involve luck. I keep mentioning you got to get lucky, but some of you out there will be able to get that, and that doesn't discount the fact that the reason I want y'all to go in on this, even if you don't have 10,000 Mystics, is there's a few things. So I'm going to pull up the second tab I have here, boys, that I wanted to show y'all. Remember I said a lot of people are calling it a scam? It's just popping up all over the place for good reason. I'm not blaming anyone. I think the banner is not really the best overall. I wish they were a little bit more generous on either the rates or just, you know, maybe it carried to pity. But whatever it is, this is what we have, and I'm going to advise y'all the best way to use it. But shout out to AZN, or I guess Asian Featherstone, for his comment here. He is saying, boys, at 2,500 Mystics, if you're completely free to play, but in a 5x guild and champ arena. Now, those of you watching, you might be like, man, I'm not in a 5x guild and champ arena. That's okay. You're just going to need to start at higher Mystics. And if you don't have higher Mystics than that, boys, then unfortunately, this banner won't be the best option for you. But I know some of you guys watching do have access to champ arena, are in a 5x guild, or you're able to start at, let's say, if you guys are sitting at 5,000 Mystics, I think you can hustle, and I think you can reach it, but I'm going to leave that up to you. I do think 10,000 Mystics or guaranteed pity, right, with the coins is the safest play if you're not sure how much you can be active, if not sure how much you can hustle and grind. But we want to lower that or increase that criteria based off if you're able to get champ arena and 5x guild. And by the way, he says he has the math to back it up. I didn't double check all of it, but he has a nice calculator here showing all the ways, and he calculated it out and put it in a nice Excel sheet. I can give this link to y'all if you want, but just understand, boys, with a 3-month time frame on the banner, if you start at 2,500 but are in 5x guild, or if you are in champ arena, or sorry, I should say, and in champ arena, you can be as little as 2,500 Mystics and get there. I don't think he even accounted for the 1,000 free Mystic check-in event we get, or what else is in the sheet here. I don't know if it counts for Abyss. I think this is just mainly the stuff you can continually grind and shop refresh for, okay? So I think, remember, 10,000 Mystics is the safest play. If you're not sure how much you can play, or if you're not, you don't trust yourself to be able to grind and do all the extra efforts. But those of you that can hustle, those of you that are committed, as little as 2,500, but I would say safely, if you're at like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, go in still, even though I said 10,000, all right, if you think you can grind and hustle. So hopefully that helps you guys out. Some of you guys will get very lucky and get double your ML5s. Some of you guys will just be able to hustle and get your guaranteed 1 through coins, and that's good enough. It's going to be the one you really want, and let's get to the next part. Nice segue into what I recommend, some additional recommendations from Car. Alrighty, y'all, let's get to the recommendation section. Make sure you watch the previous video for my top 3 plus 2 honorable mention selections, but I'm going to elaborate on a lot more of them here that I think you should also really consider if the other 3 to 5 didn't really make your fancy. Now, quick disclaimer, I'm going to say it again. A lot of these ML5s, guys, are very viable. I'm not trying to downplay or say some of these are bad, terrible, your favorites are not good. It's just some of them, in my opinion, are a cut above the rest, and most people think the same. Just the way E7 or Smilegate has been balancing units. Some of them have been overly buffed or just in a better spot at the moment, and that's what we're going to cover here, okay? So we're going to skip over Fallen Cecilia. I had her in honorable mentions in the last video. She's insane. Always a great pick. Highly consider her. I'm actually going to skip over RB, guys, just because I think some of the other ones are more relevant to talk about right now. But he is a decent pick. Still tried and true, just has so many counters. It's just probably lower on the end of, recommendations. I think the next one I'm going to talk about, we're just going to jump straight over to Spectre Tenebria. The reason I'm recommending you guys, Spectre Tenebria has been tried and true ever since her round of buffs way back when. She has just been a staple, a mainstay. Sometimes at the top, I still think she's just right below the top at the moment. She's just absolutely insane because of her kit, insane damage, double hits on the skill 1, full on, it's a stealth that cannot be detected. Skill 3 insanely strong as well with a stun, scaling damage on the passive, and she's a book holder, usable in cleave, usable in aggro, usable in standard, usable in tanky styles, especially if you want to stack like lifesteal and things like that, but just a super powerful unit, very versatile, just gets checked hardcore by if your opponent brings a lot of reach, which means units that can hit her stealth mechanic, or just lots of AoE is how I guess I could say it. Other than that though, guys, if you can, especially with double pre-bans, you ban out the Bellion, you stop some of their AoE from coming through, or you build a little bit tankier. She is just a powerhouse, can definitely solo DPS carry matches on her own. Absolutely insane, and I haven't gotten to the part where she's super good as well in Arena and Guild War offense, and super good in PvE, especially difficult content like Abyss, because of the fact that she does so much damage and she can't be countered, and she has poison on the skill 1. One of the best PvE damage debuffs. Okay, let's keep moving on, guys. LQC I think is my next very top pick just for this current meta. Overall, Little Queen Charlotte is still great, but she's not as like oppressive or degenerate, I should say, as some of the other super powerful units we talk about recently. But Little Queen Charlotte is super strong right now because of what she fights against. Her kit, her skill 3 with the anti-dark mechanic just depends on how strong are the opponents she wants to fight, how strong are the units she wants to counter. And right now, guys, Meteor Koeric, Fallen Cecilia, Apocalypse Robbie, just to name a few, all of course some of the top dogs, so Little Queen Charlotte is going to shine naturally. Be careful though, you do need some support because units like Meteor Koeric can kind of stop her in her tracks, skill pushback can stop her, killing her before her turn can stop her. But that being said, she has built-in mitigation. If you're fighting dark units, she will absolutely destroy. She can actually have some reach with the splash damage to fight units like Spectre Tenebria. If you have enough damage and attack on the Little Queen Charlotte boys, you can straight up kill Spectre Tenebria with the splash damage if it's squishy enough, and if they don't have damage share mechanics, what have you, barriers, you know. But overall, she's also not too bad to gear if you want to, if you guys want to go for the slower build and just stack Hellcutter so you can drop some crit chance as well. Just keep in mind, you do want to have enough gear on her. So 1, she can single target nuke the damage, you know, the Apocalypse Robbie or Meteor Koeric, and 2, have enough damage, or sorry, bulk to survive if you are going for a slower route, or if you can't guarantee lock in a speed up unit, or sorry, a CR push unit like Amelia. Okay, all right, so moving on, guys, I'm gonna skip over Remnant Violet, even though I think he is a powerful pick, but a lot of players I think don't like him for various reasons, namely the RNG on the evasion, the fact that he has so many counters out. But if you guys want to stop by the live stream and talk a little bit more, I think he's super relevant right now. I think if you have the gear to build him, which is very gear intensive, he's a strong pick, just not for most people. A lot of players don't like that kind of style. Next one I think we'll skip straight over to is Operator Cigarette. Now this is one I don't have experience with. I don't own her, but I see her a lot, and I've talked with enough people to definitely recommend her to y'all. Just like Little Queen Charlotte, she's relevant in the meta because of her anti-barrier style. She does so much damage. You can slap on Guiding Light on her as well, especially if you're not guaranteed to go first. But for aggressive players, for standard players even, she's super, super strong. And just like Little Queen Charlotte, super relevant to the meta. But mostly, I believe, a PvP hero. I haven't seen anyone really try her out, besides, you know, just having fun for PvE stuff. But still a strong pick, definitely. Next up, right next to her, guys, actually this whole row, let's quickly talk about Archdemons Shadow. This one I have a lot of experience with, and I think she's just gotten even better after that last round of buffs. They made her seal more reliable. They had a defense break onto the skill 3, guys. They gave her a better soul burst. She's just very, very strong now. They made this higher chance as well. And if you stack it with that Fairy Tale for Nightmare, which hopefully you guys picked up if you didn't have it on the group banner, she is super, super strong. She can carry matches on her own. The seal is even more relevant than ever, with more units having strong passives. She can even counter units like Lionheart Sirmia, stopping her entire S2 passive from proccing. Just anytime she has a relevant opponent on the field to seal, makes her value even more. But even when your opponent doesn't have a seal-worthy unit, guys, she can solo damage carry if you have that artifact, if you build her with some damage. I think a lot of players like bulk on her. Some players are even building effect resist. I recommend high bulk plus enough attack crit damage. She's a gear intensive unit, but if you get all of that on board, not only will she shut down units with strong passives, but even when they don't have those, she can carry matches on her own. And if you ever stack up full focus to get that dissolution, the S3, it is all but over. I'm not kidding, guys. She's a carry all in her own right, while having insane utility, a super unique mechanic in the seal. Just she has a little bit more counters, a few that we're going to talk about here in a second. That's kind of knocked her down slightly, but still super, super powerful. Next up is Designer Lilibet, guys, and I think this is one of the more free-to-play, or I guess I should just say beginner to mid-line friendly units. Still very relevant for veteran players as well, don't get me wrong, but the reason I say that is because a lot of players just struggle against units like AOL, the strong openers like Silius, like Para, and Designer Lilibet has a super just built-in automatic way to guarantee that you can get rid of those troublesome debuffs, as well as kind of hamper your opponent with skill pushback and some damage. She's a bruiser style unit that you can build in a lot of different ways. Some people want to just build her on speed. Lifesteal, you can depend on how much damage you want to push out on her, or make her more tanky, make her super fast. I think no matter what though, her kit just always shines if you bring her in the right situation. And then when they buffed her to make this more reliable and gave her increased defense up for herself, which gives her more survivability and damage, she's a powerful pick and one of my top recommendations after the top 3 I mentioned in the last video. Moving on, guys, I think we only have a few more to talk about. Solitaria, super, super strong as well, just like Archdemons Mercedes. Another AoE mage. She's the closest thing we've had to the reign of Dizzy, guys. Dizzy from the Guilty Gear collab, if you didn't know, when she first came out, was a absolute terror. Think of just how we call the disasters nowadays. That was Dizzy back then. She would control the battlefield. She would never let your opponent take a turn. Solitaria is the closest I think we've gone to that, but arguably better in some ways because of her anti-focus mechanic. Not as oppressive in control unless you stack Crown as well, but you can do that if you want to go for the full stun bot material. But the fact that she has built-in stealth, anti-focus, and now just with the buffs, guys, this AoE that can't be countered, sorry, it can be countered, but the extra effect now will, you know, it counts as an extra attack, so that doesn't proc counters per se. She's just super, super strong, either in controlling the battlefield, stopping units like Remu, stopping focus units like Seaside Bologna, Green Violet, Remnant Violet, Archdemons Mercedes. Just super versatile, super controlling, and can even run a little damage if you want to run Fairy Tale for Nightmare as well. An underrated pick. I think a lot of players just aren't abusing her because the control playstyle is either seen as toxic, it takes a while, they don't want to frustrate their opponents as much, but I expect players to abuse her very soon, and I think a lot of players just don't realize how really oppressive she can be in the right hands. Moving along, guys, I think there's only one more because we talked about him last time. We talked about her a little bit, and Conqueror Lilius. The last one I think is Closer Charles. So like Operator Cigarette, I don't have personal experience with him, but I fought him enough times. I've heard from enough account reviews from legend players I've talked with that say he's the real deal, guys. I think I'll leave it as simple as this. He's a kind of he's a one-trick pony sort of unit, meaning he really only fits in aggressive playstyles, cleave or full-on aggro. So players that want to build full damage, that want to hit their opponent so hard they can't react, this is the guy for you, and I think he's one of the best at it. And I think even more so than Operator Cigarette, if you weren't worried about like barriers from Fallen Cecilia or Hua Young, I think Closer Charles should be your overall pick if you think you play aggro or cleave and want a super enabling unit. Opener / attack up, just super insane damage as well. Look at Closer Charles if you fit that category of player, okay? So overall, boys, let's wrap it up there. Thank you so much for watching. Remember what I said at the beginning. 10,000 mystics, only summon if you're safe. But if you guys can hustle, can grind, you can go as low as 2,500. I recommend getting only summoning if you have maybe 5,000, 6,000, just to be safe. All right, but check those details. And thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.